What's up guys, I've just got back from the post office again, and I thought it's about time I did a video on how I make our money and how a lot of people make their money, which is on Amazon. That's one of our main income streams. Now there's people that are making huge incomes off Amazon every year, us included to a degree. We turn over a sizable amount. I won't say exactly how much, but we do a lot, and it can change people's lives if you do it correctly. So I thought, why not do a few videos, maybe a little series just explaining how you go about doing it and what you need to do to follow the steps to make a success on Amazon. So to give you a brief background, I've worked in brand development and e-commerce now for approaching 15 years, maybe even a little bit longer. I'm getting old. And over that time, we've seen a huge shift from standard websites onto the Amazon platform, just because it offers so much for a seller. Previously, we've had numerous online stores, and what we noticed very quickly was Amazon was taking over. Everyone started to shift over to Amazon to make their purchases. So we thought we may as well try it and see for ourselves. So we did trial it. What we found very quickly was that our sales on Amazon fairly soon were surpassing those of our online stores all combined. So it got to a point where it just made sense. We had to go and move over onto Amazon. Initially, we would run both alongside each other, but eventually it now is a case of we still have some online stores, but they pale into insignificance compared to Amazon. We started to see Amazon as the equivalent of having our products on the shelves of a high street retailer. The benefit of our high street retailer is it's already got instant footfall and you've got instant visibility. So if you can make your product look really nice and attractive and eye-catching, then the chances are people are going to find it in that shop and they're going to buy it, aren't they? Now, we compared that to the equivalent of our online store being basically a shop on a little side street somewhere. To get people down that side street off the high street, you need to spend a load of money marketing on a huge sign out on the high street saying, come down and see our store. When you get people in the store, that's great, but then, you know, are you trustworthy? Does the store look nice? Do the shoppers feel comfortable giving you their payment details? So you've got all these other things to factor in. Whereas with a high street retailer, of course people trust them, you know, they're high street retailers. And also there's more choice, so they're winning straight away. It's easy to see why Amazon took off as quickly as they did. So how do sellers do it on Amazon? Well, there's two ways of doing it. So you've got FBM and you've got FBA. Now, FBM is fulfilled by merchant, which basically means that when you sell stuff, you have to fulfill those orders and send them to your customers yourself. And there's FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon. Now, that second one is what we're going to discuss, because that is the one that you want to be looking at. FBM is difficult because you are completely in control of that. You know, you need to make sure that all your orders are getting fulfilled. They're going out via fast couriers, and they're basically landing at the customer's door quickly. If you don't, then you'll find yourself getting poor reviews. With Amazon FBA, the benefit of that is they take care of everything. So all you need to do is ship your stock into their warehouse, and once it's in there, they will take care of storing your product. They will sell it for you via the listing you create. They will deliver it to the customer, and also they will do all the customer service and support as well. Now, there is a slightly double-edged sword there, because Amazon's customer service is questionable, and they are very, very refund happy. So to keep their customers happy, they will literally just refund at the drop of a hat, and you don't really get a say in it. So with that, you need to be careful. I would recommend you need to allow probably about 4 or 5% just to be able to write that off as refunds. Now, Amazon do say that they get the stock back and they'll put it back into your inventory. From experience, that often doesn't happen. You need to chase Amazon to make them do that. So as a rule of thumb, you need to learn just to write that off and see that as just one of the costs associated with trading on Amazon. The upsides, if you get it right, far outweigh the handful of refunds you're going to be doing on a monthly basis. So talking about FBA, what that basically means on the customer facing side is Prime. Now, most people know what Prime is. It's the one-day delivery service. You pay a subscription for it. Any product that you have in FBA Amazon warehouse will normally qualify for Prime delivery. So they will then distribute it across their network of warehouses, and they'll make sure that customers get that product normally the next day, sometimes even the same day. If you ship a ton of stock in there and there's enough inventory spread around, then yeah, very often customers can get same day delivery, and that's all part of the Prime service that they've already paid a subscription for. So you imagine just the sheer benefit of having that available to customers. They can get same day delivery. I ordered some nails at midnight last night because I need to put a fence panel up. They turned up at 10 AM. £2.18. You can't do that. If you're an FBM seller, you can't even sell the product at £2.18, let alone deliver it on a next morning delivery for that cost. It's just crazy. They must be making a loss. But my point is, Prime is the way forward, and to get Prime, you need to be doing FBA. Now, the key with all of this is that you still need to find a product to sell that you can buy, trade or wholesale cheap enough. Because remember, Amazon, they're not cheap. They do charge quite a lot. Their fees normally around 15%. It does vary depending on what category you're selling in, but as a general rule of thumb, 15% is pretty much standard. If you are VAT registered, it's 15%. If you're not VAT registered, then they sting you for the VAT as well, which in the UK is 20%. So you add the 20% onto the 15%, which is another 3%. So that's an 18% fee that you're getting charged. So you need to be able to swallow that 18%. And that's just the fee. If you do an FBA, then there's also the fulfillment fee as well, the handling charge of the delivery, getting it to the customer. It is normally cheaper than you doing it yourself, but you again need to factor that in. And there is an FBA calculator. Search for that in Google, and you can add all your own fees and your own costs, and you can see what margin you'll be left with at the end. So it's very important when you're looking for a product to sell, you need to make sure you do those figures to ensure that there is suitable margin after all the fees have been taken out. So now once you've got a product, there's two ways that you can approach it now. You've obviously got FBM, FBA, that's on the shipping side, that's one. On the actual product side, in terms of jumping onto listings or creating listings and selling the product, the two options are, one, you can buy a branded product. So someone else owns a brand, it's like a big well-known brand, so you found a wholesaler of it and you can get it cheap, and you can then literally just jump onto an existing listing, add yourself as a seller, as long as you've got authorization to sell that brand, and then just set your pricing accordingly. The downside of that is that any product that's any good on Amazon, I guarantee Amazon are already buying that direct from the manufacturer, and they have the buy box. Now when I say buy box, that is that little box on the product page that 99% of people click when they buy it. You'll notice there's another little area that says other sellers, and it might even be cheaper, available cheaper from other sellers. You click on that, they hide it very well, and you'll see all the other sellers where you will appear as one of, with all the different prices available. Amazon have got the buy box all to themselves normally. So there, you are competing against all the other sellers that are also offering that same product for sale at whatever rate they're getting it for. If you're buying it from a wholesaler, chances are someone else is buying it from a wholesaler as well at the same price, so you're always going to be squeezed for margin. So yes, all right, you get listed on a high performing product listing, but the amount you might sell could be minimal because A, you're not competitive, or B, you're going to be competitive but you might make 10p per product, and then all you need is one refund and you're at a loss. So there's that to factor in as well. Now the second option, which is far more favorable and the best way of doing it and making a long-term success on Amazon, is to create your own brand. By doing that, I mean you need to go out, find a product that you can brand yourself. So it'll be a white label or a private label product, it's called, or it might be something literally that you've created or invented and you come up with a brand. Now it's not that easy because you do need to come up with a brand name, you need to design the packaging, how it looks, you've probably got to do a website to add a bit of trust. There's a lot to it. Some people do just make an Amazon exclusive product, but you'll probably find you'll sell more if there's some kind of backup story on the web, where people can go to a website and learn about the product as well. It's not just on Amazon. The second thing to do after you have done that and created your brand is to trademark it. Now it costs normally a few £100, but again it's a very sensible thing to do because it's giving you protection for your brand. Otherwise anyone could just jump on your listing and start selling it. Amazon really don't care. They'll say, oh, file a trademark complaint, what's your trademark number? You go, well, I haven't got a trademark, and all right, sorry, can't do anything. So always trademark it. Make sure that you do trademark. Once you've done that, you can then also add your brand to the Amazon brand registry. Now by doing that, you're getting yourself additional protection, and Amazon will then look after you if you get some numpty that will just jump onto your listing out of nowhere that's just set up, and they'll try and start selling your product. Obviously they don't have authorization to, so you can do a trademark complaint. Chances are they'll actually get booted off Amazon, so it's a good thing. You don't want scummy people doing that anyway on Amazon. So when you've done that, you then don't have any of the same competition that you would have in the sense of buying a well-branded, well-recognized product and then just being one of 50 sellers on Amazon. You will have one listing, you will be the sole seller of that listing because it's your brand, and no one else can sell your brand on Amazon. Now that is gold. It's gold, but also it's not just as easy as that, because obviously no one knows your brand, do they? So you then need to follow quite a strict process to get your product and your brand recognized, so people do start to buy it. The main thing to take away from that is that you won't be having other people competing on your listing. You'll only have true competitors, as in other brands that are selling their similar products but their own branded products. So, you know, it's just business at that point. You're not competing under the same product, penny pinching. But just getting a generic product won't cut it either. You can't just go and buy any old product and then slap a brand on it and then expect to make $1 million overnight. It doesn't happen like that. All of these kind of courses you see, just take them with a pinch of salt, because very often it's fool's gold. You do need to do a lot of research initially to find a good product, one that's cheap enough as well, but has good quality, because just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's going to be good. Very often you might find you've got a manufacturer, they do you a great deal, but the product's shocking. And all that's going to do, you're going to put it on Amazon, the customers are going to find that out straight away, and you're just going to get 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, and you'll just disappear. You won't get any sales off that. So it is finding that middle ground where you can get a product manufactured at a cost-effective enough price, but also the quality is there too, that you can then, you know, sleep well knowing that you're not going to get a bunch of 1 stars. You'll actually get some 5 stars, because the ratings are so important again on Amazon. You then have the matter of MOQs, which is minimum order quantities. Now, to get a good price on a lot of products, very often the manufacturer will want you to order a minimum bulk quantity. Normally it might be 500, it might be 1,000, it might be more. Some manufacturers will do lower MOQs, but then you'll find that the product price does start to sneak up, and the fewer you order, the higher the price is. So you're nipping your margins every time. So again, you do need to have some form of capital to do this properly. All this drop shipping kind of books and stuff, just from experience, don't fall for it. If you want to do business, you need capital, you need to invest. And if you don't have the money, then you need to find the money. You need to either go and ask your family, ask your friends, just, you know, whatever you need to do to get that cash, do it. Because honestly, you get this right, it will change your life. If you muck about trying to do drop shipping and all these little kind of, you know, corner cutting exercises, you're never going to be successful on Amazon. You know, I don't believe any of that. We've never done it that way. We've just always put the cash in. At the start, I didn't have anything, but I found the cash to buy the first few products, and now we have a very successful Amazon business in the UK and the USA as well. Right, so you bought your product, you branded it, and now you've got 1,000 of them sitting in your front room and you don't know what to do with them. The next step is you need to create your product listing on Amazon. Now, this is based on people doing their own brands and doing their own products, which is what I'm kind of endorsing, saying you should do that. So the most important thing, and one of the critical stepping stones to having a successful business on Amazon, is to do a very good optimized product listing. The battery went flat. Right, so I'm back. It might be slightly darker now because it's the afternoon, but anyway, so I was about to talk about why it's so important to have an optimized listing, and what exactly do I mean by an optimized listing. Now, by optimized, I mean that the product title should be very thorough, it should be comprehensive, very descriptive, so people know what they're clicking into. Likewise with the bullet points as well. You've got 5 bullet points, use them. That's like your stage. You get to stand on it and talk about your product, and everyone will listen and look at it for a good minute. So those bullet points shouldn't just be little 1 sentences or like a few words. You should really go to town. That's your chance to sell your product. It's above the fold, so that is the first bit that people see when they click into your listing. That's really your only chance you're going to get for people to convert. If they like the sound of it, it looks good, the images are good, then they might buy it. If you haven't got anything there and you've got like 1 image, it's just no good. You need to have at least 6 images. They all need to have at least 1001 pixels in one direction, so it then activates the Amazon Zoom facility. That lets customers zoom in and have a proper gawk at your product. Without that, again, it's like just having a product on a shelf a mile away. People can't really see it. And then you need your product description as well. That product description needs to be, again, thorough and descriptive and very salesy. Not as many people look at the product description because you have to scroll down, but these days Amazon fill their listings with competing offers. So even though it's your listing and you've got your product on it, you'll have a look around and you'll see there's tons of competing offers all trying to steal that customer away from yours. So if you haven't put a decent product description in there, again, you're not utilizing the space that's been made available to you. You can actually put HTML tags in it. Some, you have to be careful which ones you use, but that lets you put spacing, bold characters. Just fill that space up. At least then you're commanding as much space as you're allowed on your product listing. Seems crazy, I know, but You have to play these games to keep the customer's attention and keep them on your listing. So you've done that. In addition, you also need to do the keyword research. Now that's behind the scenes inside your Seller Central inventory section when you click edit, but they're your search terms and they are equally as important as the words you use in your bullet points and the title. Amazon's algorithm will take search terms from all your keywords, your bullet points, and also your product titles. So you need to try and put a bit of effort into making sure you describe your product and you use a variety of words that Amazon can pick up on. If you leave any of them blank, you might even risk not getting ranked at all, in which case you just won't make any sales whatsoever. If you do fill all of them out, you've got the best chance possible of ranking well longer term at the very least. Once you've done the title, bullet points and description and also the keywords, you want to go through the other fields inside the edit area within your control panel and just fill out any fields that you feel are relevant, because all of that will be considered by Amazon. So it's definitely worth doing it, but at the very bare minimum, make sure that your title, bullet points, product description and your keywords are all completed and looking great. So imagine just leaving all that blank. Besides not ranking, how are you going to sell anything? What are customers going to be basing their buying decisions on? It's like having a product on a shop shelf without any packaging or any information for a customer to go, oh, all right, I'm going to buy that. What are your USPs? Why should the shopper buy your product over another one? Chances are, in this day and age, what you're selling is going to be similar to another product that's also available on Amazon. So you really need to focus on what the USPs are. A good tip is go into your main competition's listings and click on their ratings. Have a look, find their 1-star ratings, see what their weaknesses are, and then look at your product, see has your product addressed them. If it has genuinely addressed them, use them within your USPs. Explain to your customers why yours is better, why yours doesn't suffer from the same faults and weaknesses that your other competitors' products do. It's a massive way of boosting credibility for your product. This is one of the key reasons why people should buy your product over someone else's. The amount of times I've clicked into a listing and found barely any information at all, I've lost count. And obviously I've not bought from those listings. I ended up finding a listing that gives me the information I need and I bought it. You know, look at it from a customer's eyes. Would you buy from that listing if it didn't have any information? Probably not. It's a funny story because I actually started offering an optimization service to my clients through my main business. Over the years, I've created and optimized hundreds, if not thousands, of product listings on Amazon. So I've kind of learned during that time what works, what doesn't work, and how to create a listing that converts, ranks well, and ultimately generates sales. So it seemed like a natural progression for me to start offering that as a service to my clients. And that part of our business alone now generates a sizable income every year for us. So once you've got your product, you've created your optimized listing, you then need to convert it to FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, and ship that product into their warehouses. Now, once it's there, they can be slow initially when they're first checking your stock in, so you need to allow about a week for them to check it in. Also, allow roughly that, about 5 to 7 days in the future whenever you need to replenish your stock, because the worst thing you can do, trust me, is go out of stock. Again, from experience, you go out of stock, all of a sudden you can't sell, your listing ranking will plummet, and it takes a while to get back up again. So by going out of stock, it causes unnecessary headaches. So always make sure you're forward planning to keep good inventory levels available at FBA. You'll also notice once you do start making a few sales that your rankings will just fluctuate wildly. Like initially you'll be right down into the maybe 100,000s, and then you'll sell one product and you'll jump up to like, you know, a 10 or 20,000 in your respective category, and you'll bounce all over the place for a little while. Eventually, once you start to stabilize, then your rankings will still fluctuate, but not by, you know, tens and tens of thousands. It'll be more like hundreds. Eventually, once you do start getting up into the best sellers, like the top 10s or even the top 100, you'll find that your rankings will still go up and down, but not in the same frequency. So it does stabilize at that point. And this is the point when your sales do begin to become more consistent. Now, as a guide, it is very difficult to get your product in the top 10 best sellers of Amazon in any category. If you do it via a questionable way, you might be able to very quickly boost your product up, but keeping it up there, it's going to cost you a fortune in promotion and you won't make any margin. So it used to work a while ago, but I think their algorithm got, you know, smart to it and doesn't make life easy anymore. So you genuinely do normally have to try and do it a legitimate way to get up into those top 10s. So when you do, It's great. And as a guide, we've got several products across the UK in multiple categories that are all in the top 10 best sellers for Amazon. It's taken us years to get to that point, but we're there now, and those products are all stable. They've all got a huge amount of product ratings, and they're all doing great, so we can rely on that. All we need to do is make sure the stock levels are good at Amazon in their FBA warehouses consistently, so they can just fulfill the orders every day. We also have one product in the top 10 bestsellers in Amazon.com, which is obviously the USA site. That again has taken, that'll take about 2 years to get up to that point, but that's insane, that one, because it's USA. Their market is so much bigger than the UK's market. It's a joke, and having a product in the top 10 in that category on the USA's platform is like the equivalent in terms of sales of us having multiple products at the #1 spot on the UK platform with added promotion. It's just insane. That one does huge figures for us, but again, it's taken us a while to get to a point where that's stable and we can rely on that just to generate ongoing sales for us. So once your product has been checked into Amazon FBA, their warehouse has added your inventory to their system, you will get a little Prime badge that will go live on your listing, and then customers can order it using their Prime subscription, which is brilliant. But just because you've done that doesn't mean that your product is just going to fly off the shelves. At that point, you need to start putting promotional work into almost pumping your product up so that you can start generating the sales it needs to begin going up the rankings and stabilizing itself so that you can rely on it to do consistent daily sales for you. Part of that process is getting customer reviews. Now that's becoming more difficult because people aren't leaving as many reviews as they used to, and all of the systems that used to allow you to approach customers and request reviews or automate the review process, Amazon's clamped down on most of them now, and a lot of customers just don't leave reviews, and that's a problem because people are very quick to leave a 1-star if they have a bad experience, but very slow to leave a 5-star if they have a good experience. So it's a tough one. You do still need to request reviews via Amazon. There is a little button in the order that you can click to say request product review, but whilst you do it, you'll be surprised you're probably going to get 5% will actually go on to leave a review. But it's still important to do it because you need product reviews, you need to do it legitimately, and it does help the algorithm with ranking your product better and higher so you get more visibility. And at that point, that's when things will start to gel. Your rankings have improved, you've got a few product ratings, you've got FBA Prime set up, everything is as good as it can be, especially with the optimized listing. At this point, you want to start looking at really boosting your sales and increasing your visibility even more, stabilizing your ranking. To do that, you need to be looking at things such as Amazon advertising, the sponsored ads, but we'll go into that in a separate video because there's a lot to discuss on that section. There's various other methods you can use as well, but likewise, we'll discuss them maybe in a different video. I think maybe do a little series to talk of the various options available to really help grow your Amazon sales from more than just a lifestyle business into something you can quit your daily job for. But yeah, they're going to take time to go through, so rather than do like an hour-long video, I'll break them down into their own little sections shortly. But for now, you have the basics behind how people start their journeys on Amazon towards making a business that allows them to move away from their 9-to-5 jobs and become financially independent. I really hope this video has helped you. If it has, please smash that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to my channel. I'll do more videos like this discussing all the various aspects of Amazon and how to make money from their platform. And thanks for watching.